What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining us on our first episode of What's in the Showroom with Ed. Obviously, we're in the showroom, and my name is Ed. I'm the sales manager here at Pfaff Reserve, Toronto. Been meaning to do this for a very long time, and just haven't really had a chance to do it. And also, we've been really busy and getting a lot of cool cars in. Big shout out to our fans. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yeah, it's been an incredible year, and obviously our business relies on a lot of acquisitions and buying of a car. So we're super stoked and super proud of our inventory in the last couple of years, and I can't wait to show it off to you. Obviously, a lot of our vehicles are not advertised online, so this is a great chance to show you what's going on in the showroom, what kind of the stuff that we do. And without further ado, I would like to introduce you our first car, which is the M3 GTS Tribute. I mean, a lot of you probably have seen the car online, the build process of what we've done to the vehicle. Most of you would know that GTS obviously was a European model only. It was a car that kind of brought BMW brought up to compete with the GT3 RS at the time. And I just thought it would be pretty cool to commission our tuning department to build one, a tribute to it. I like to think the car is a little bit even better than the real GTS because we actually used a 4.6 liter stroker motor in it. So 100 more horsepower, 100 more pounds of torque. And obviously the car itself was a pretty easy build, but obviously the parts list was very extensive with the Recaro seats, the rear seat delete, which is all custom, the tires, the brakes, the aero and stuff like that. So we're super excited for this particular vehicle. This is one of the cars that's not advertised online because we're really hoping to sort of bring it onto the track for spring and really test out what kind of performance upgrade it will bring out from all the stuff that we've done to the car. So super excited for this vehicle. I love looking at it. It's a beautiful color. I think we nailed it in terms of bringing it to exactly what the GTS would be. All the parts are actually all original. There's some stuff that we couldn't even replicate because obviously they had the lightweight door panels and stuff, but I think we did a really good job. I can't wait to see them rip it on the track and really see what kind of time we shave off onto that. So moving forward, we love our Lambos, as you can see. We do a lot of Huracans. We do a lot of Aventadors. Jimmy obviously does a lot of older vintage Lamborghinis like, the Countach and Diablos and stuff like that. Right now we have a few Huracans to choose from. This is a 2018 Performante Coupe. This particular vehicle is actually originally white. It's been wrapped by Second Skin in a two-tone, sort of like a matte black with a gloss black on the back. It's actually quite cool. Second Skin obviously is a very popular local wrap shop that we have over here in Greater GTA, and they obviously do a fantastic job in terms of making it look almost factory the way it is. Center lock wheels, and it's just the option on this is very intensive, and we can't wait to put this online, and you should be able to see it in the next little bit. Finally, we have part of our another Huracan collection is obviously the Evo. This is actually the first time that we're doing a Huracan Evo. I've always liked the car. It's a very sort of flagship car for well, not I shouldn't say flagship, but more of a bread and butter car for Lamborghini. The interesting thing is that they've removed all the aero and they still kept the Performante power, which I think is actually quite cool. Obviously, you can see it from the rear end and stuff like that. This particular model is actually a 2020. So looking forward to seeing this thing on the road. And I just love the white and the yellow combination. And these wheels, when I first saw it, I actually asked the guy that I bought from, are they aftermarket? So Lamborghini has always been, in my opinion, the best sounding stock car, and also the best in terms of wheel design and wheel fitment and all that kind of stuff. So design-wise, I think Lamborghini has always had it on the throne there. So going back a little bit, we obviously the bad boys car, but it's not really the bad boys car. The bad boys obviously is a 3.6 turbo, but this particular car is a 3.3, which we actually installed the Porsche Speedline wheels. They were actually brand new. You can actually order them from Porsche now, which is kind of cool. Pretty pricey, but the car definitely needs it. We've touched this car for the last, I would say, 3 years now. and it was always owned by one customer of ours, and she actually recently sold it back to us. We installed the wheels, did a little bit more reconditioning on the car, and guys, these things are just becoming more rare than any Lamborghini, any hypercar that you can come up. This car only has 35,000 kilometers. Obviously triple black with the black sport seats, but unfortunately we just recently sold it to one of our really good client. But you would definitely see it back because he does a lot with us, and you know, we try to be selective a little bit with rare cars so that we can, you know, see them again, you know, sell them again, service them, and all that kind of stuff. So even though we sold it to a client, to our big clients, it's still part of our sort of our collection. Moving forward, we have a little bit more in the future. I mean, obviously, it's actually kind of interesting to see these two cars side by side right here, because the 991 generation cars are so much bigger than the original air-cooled Porsches. But, you know, obviously Porsche is trying to get into the realm of supercar. You know, they want to have wider wheelbase, longer wheelbase, bigger engine, and this is no slouch. I mean, I personally think the Gen 1 GT3 RS is a little bit better looking than the Gen 2. It's a little bit less edgier, it's a little bit less aggressive. It's a little bit more softer. I think the design on these are much better. Obviously, this particular car is finished in GT silver, carbon ceramic brakes, buckets, very nicely built car. We do very well with these. And guys, I think these cars this year, you got to remember, there's no big Porsches coming out. There's the GT3 and that's it. GT2 RS was 2019, 2018. You know, there's really nothing flirting in Canadian dollar wise in that 250 to 300 in terms of Porsche. So I think these things are actually going to do very well coming this year. Every time we sell one, we can't replace this. So they're definitely a lot of fun, a lot of power, a lot of fun on the track as well. Just a Swiss Army knife car is what I like to call it. So this one won't last that long. Ford GT, we've done maybe like 2 of them now. I personally really love them. I think Ford actually did a fantastic job in terms of following up with the original Ford GT. I think the design looks still really great. The car itself, you still get the remnants of an older GT. A lot of people knock for it for the V6 engine and it's not being a V8 and all this kind of stuff. I don't mind it. I mean, like you got to remember that their MSRP is not $1 million or $2 million. The MSRP in Canada was in that 500, 600, 700. So for what it's worth compared to like a Pista or a 765, 720S, twin turbo, lightweight construction, carbon construction, I think the car at its MSRP was very good, and obviously you couldn't get yourself one if you're not somebody that's done business with Ford. So, and they also put a lot of speculation in terms of reselling it, so they obviously cooked up the market a little bit. But every time I drove this car, it definitely feels like a supercar, super lightweight, super special inside. It kind of actually reminds me a little bit of a Senna. So this particular car is a 2017. Love the color combination. This was an original car, so the blue, white, and the red, white, and blue combination. So no carbon edition, no carbon wheels or anything like that. That was more on the 18s and the 19s and stuff. So this particular one is, I guess you could call it like the first off. So moving forward on the racing stripes, we have our beautiful 2020, not 19, 2020 Ferrari Pista, Viola Hong Kong. We're probably very well familiar with this vehicle. Lots of tailor-made that is on this particular car. And guys, if you guys don't know what tailor-made is, it's basically Ferrari's MSO, custom tailor-made basically. So whatever you want, colors, leathers, if you want your name in the back of the seats and stuff like that, they will be able to do it for you. So beautiful piece. This particular car is online right now, and the Pista market has just gone through the roof, the specialty market, everything. And comparatively to like a McLaren, I mean, a lot of guys, you know, for the similar price, you can get a 765 LT, you know, or even maybe even a 720S. It's not very comparable in prices, but it definitely feels like a McLaren in terms of power, but it has that Ferrari soul. Like, you know, a lot of people say, you know, Ferrari's a Ferrari. When you drive a Ferrari Pista or you drive a Speciale, on paper, it might be very similar to other cars, but it's a Ferrari. 80 years of road car history, they definitely know what's going on over here. So Lamborghini SV Roadster, 1 of 500 made. We've had this car for some time now, but never really advertised it because I just personally think that the SV will eventually do a little bit better than the SVJs. I just think the design of it's a little bit more traditional Lambo, you know, kind of pulling from the Mercy SV in terms of the car, and then they've kind of made upgrades to it, whereas I find the SVJ was a completely designed car with the scoops and the ala aero and all that kind of stuff. So again, this car is actually brand new, originally from the US, 1 of 500. This particular car is not online for advertised, but it is on our website. But yeah, I'm just super excited to have this in our collection as well. And we've just recently sold our SC30 Purple Coupe, which some of you saw on our Bring a Trailer. But hopefully somebody will pick this up and enjoy it for the summer. Yeah, love this one. And moving forward, this is sort of our, I guess you call it a crazy corner. So if you follow our Instagram, if you follow our YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff, you know that we are currently in the custodian for 3 of these beauties. We have the F40, the F50, and obviously the almighty P1. The F40 was actually a vehicle that we've sold to a client. We bought it, we took it on trade for a Pagani at the time, really good client of ours. If you're watching, thank you. And we did a pretty much an entire in and out major service on it. And shortly after, we were able to sell it to a customer right away. And, you know, within, I would say probably 6 months or so, the market has just went crazy. And he's obviously looking at a really good investment in this piece here. Crazy car. I had the privilege of like driving the vehicle after the major service was done. Just an incredible feel. The turbocharger on it, the sound, the shifting, everything about it. It's one of my dream cars. I wish everybody that's watching this can have an opportunity to try something like this. But just to think back in the day, you know, in that time, they were able to create something like this is absolutely amazing to me. So I believe they made, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they made about 1,700 or 1,800. So in the comments, you can tell me what it was. So which I want to bring to the F50. The reason about the production number on is because, you know, a lot of people aesthetically, ergonomically, or whatever you want to say, do actually lean towards the F40. But if I was to have to pick between the two, I would definitely pick the F50, especially with the market with the F40 right now, how it's just completely exploded in the last little bit. 1 of 349 made, obviously detuned V12, bolts right onto the chassis. The top comes off. You know, it's the designer, the idea behind this car was absolutely completely different from what they were thinking for the F40, as it should be. You know, Enzo was sort of in charge with this one, and this particular car, he unfortunately passed away at this time. But you can tell this car was more 90s. You know, people, they made this car to go cruising. They didn't really make this car to go for competition use and all that kind of stuff. You know, it was a lot. It was very easy to drive, much easier than the F40. The clutch engagement, I'm sorry guys, I actually feel like the clutch engagement was a little bit easier than the Carrera GT. Maybe I'm just a shitty driver, but I actually did not enjoy driving the CGT around the city. But this one, I was able to move around the block, and it was actually quite enjoyable, quite lovely actually. I would take this out to our, you know, car shows and all that kind of stuff. So 31,000 kilometers on the clock, full service record, 2 previous owners. Super excited to even have this in our showroom. Super excited to have even both of them sitting here together. So hopefully this one will be going to a lucky customer very soon. And it's not advertised online. So it's, yeah, I hate to see this one go. This is a pretty rare car. So, and then finally, our McLaren P1. Obviously, some of you guys know that our sister store, our big sister store, is McLaren Toronto. So I was actually fortunate enough to know the P1 or working at McLaren when it first got announced. When it first came, you know, there was Bugattis and stuff like that, like $1 million, $2 million cars. But to be able to have one at the brand that you're working with, it was kind of crazy to me at the time, because even already like $300,000-$400,000 car was pretty expensive. So 375 made, hybrid drivetrain. It was actually kind of interesting to have Porsche, Ferrari, and McLaren do them at the same time. But a lot of people don't think or understand that McLaren didn't really have that much backing in terms of creating a car at this caliber. You know, Porsche, you know, they had the hybrid technology. They had even as little as like steering wheel or MMIs and stuff. Like, they have those backups. Same with the Ferraris, right? So McLaren kind of did this from the ground up, and I just think it's absolutely incredible. I think it's the best looking out of the three. I think it drives I guess for lack of a better term, the hairiest out of the three. The turbos are spooling and all this kind of stuff, the design of it. So this particular car we've sort of touched for, I want to say 2 to 3 years as well. We've just sold it again to a really good customer of ours. He's actually in a position to almost collect all three. So we're trying to work really hard to sort of put that collection all together. He does have a 918 right now. And, but yeah, 800 miles on the clock, triple black on with a little bit of red accent. I just think the car actually looks the best in black. McLaren's design is almost a little too aggressive at some point, so that if you do have a very, very bright color, it almost hides that a little bit, if you know what I mean. So whereas it's black, you almost have to look closely to be able to see the different designs and all that kind of stuff. And interesting enough, I think McLaren at the time, you know, they probably just didn't even they probably just didn't even have the space for this. This is actually the charging unit for the hybrid system. So I just find it kind of interesting that mostly you'll see this plug actually going into the car, our new Atura SF90 918 too, because of their hybrid technology. I just found it interesting that McLaren actually kept the system outside. Could be lightweight, it could be just because of the fact that there was just no room for it, because when this clamshell opens up, there's literally no space to do anything. The ECU is bolted on over here. The engine is like tucked right in there. There's plumbing and hosing and pipes going everywhere. So I just find that kind of interesting. And yeah, so hopefully this vehicle will stay with the family, and one day we'll be able to represent it again. And that's pretty much it, guys. So we, unfortunately, due to COVID and all this kind of stuff, our showroom most of the time was closed. So now that everything's kind of opening up, we do invite you to come in. Our showroom changes every so often. I would say probably every 2-3 weeks I would change it, just to change everything up, make everything look a little bit different. Be sure to check our website and also our Instagram account. Follow and subscribe this video. This year, I promise you we'll be creating more content. You know, that's pretty much it. This is our showroom. And I'm Ed, and thank you for coming, and see you next time.